Let's take a look at this week's adds and drops for fantasy basketball. Coming up next on Beat the Odds, don't go anywhere. Hello, sports fans. Welcome back to another episode of Beat the Odds. We're going to take a look at the top 5 adds and drops after week 7 of the fantasy basketball season. Before we get into this here, of course, please do like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you like content like this. And hit that notification button so that way you will be notified whenever we drop an episode here on the channel. Let's start off with the drop candidates we've got in the Los Angeles Clipper team. Guard John Wall, 19 points per game last week, 1 rebound, 3 assists, 40% from the field, 94% from the line, 19 minutes per game. I wouldn't normally put somebody on my drop list that has 19 points per game last week, but what concerns me about John Wall is what's concerned me all season long. Even when the Clippers are ravaged by injuries, we're not seeing a huge influx of minutes going to John Wall. And it didn't stop him last week from getting a do not play. So I think they're really handling Wall with kid gloves. And he's just not somebody that I'd want to hang on to here for the long run if he's not getting the playing time, especially in head-to-head leagues. In points leagues where you can stick him on your bench and not worry about him quite so much and then just play him when he's active, that's one thing. I think he would be a good fit for there. But for head-to-head leagues, I wouldn't really feel comfortable having him pick up a roster spot and just get a DNP on the odd occasion there. So I would say even at 19 points per game, I would drop him. He's getting more aggressive on offense, which is nice, but of course last week it resulted in quite inefficient shooting and less playmaking. If he does happen to get into the higher 20 minutes per game, then I wouldn't consider him a drop candidate at that point. But he's got to get to that. He's got to get to that point here, and he's got no shortage of opportunity right now with a team that's struggling to stay healthy. Up next, we have Bones Highland, Denver Nuggets, 53% owned. He is the owner of 8 points per game, 1 rebound, 2 assists. 46% from the field, 33% from the line in 14 minutes per game last week. He had 5 minutes in the last game that they played and was a minus 14 against the Pelicans. So, I mean, that is a massive red flag. I believe he was last on the team chart for minutes played. And of course, Jamal Murray is clicking on all cylinders right now, which means Bones Highland being the handcuff becomes less valuable. And as you see him, even when he's running hot here, he's turning. He kind of reminds me more of Emmanuel Quickley type prototype, just with less minutes right now, which again is a very volatile player to have on a squad. So if there is a hot guy off the waiver wire, I would consider switching him out with Bones Highland here for the coming week. Up next in Utah, we have Malik Beasley, 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 26% from the field, 57% owned in Yahoo, 27 minutes played. He is on a major cold streak after he's had a couple of really good weeks. And of course, that's something you can expect with Beasley. He's a very hot and cold shooter. Colin Sexton's success as well has cut into Beasley's opportunities, so it's going to be difficult for him to rebound unless he's getting some major minutes. Now, he's getting 27 minutes right now, which is good to see, even though he's struggling with his shot. But once Conley returns, I think there's going to be some shuffling in that lineup, which may result in Beasley getting less minutes unless he can start turning it around here with the shooting again. So just keep an eye on that. Right now for this week, I wouldn't hesitate dropping him for the time being until he gets hot again. Up next, we got Marcus Morris Sr., 8 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, 23% from the field, 71% from the line, 26 minutes played, 52% owned in Yahoo leagues. He had a huge opportunity for production, kind of similar to John Wall, and he's been a major letdown this past week. Very low ceiling on Marcus Morris. You kind of know what to expect here. He's a low teens producer, 5 rebounds per game kind of thing. And if he's not hitting that, he's not worth a spot. So if he's going to be continuing shooting the way that he's shooting there, then I wouldn't hesitate to drop him for somebody who's doing well. And of course, right now the team is unhealthy. Kind of the same thing with John Wall. Once they start to get back their major usage players like Kawhi and Paul George, Marcus Morris Sr.'s ceiling drops even further. So I would feel pretty comfortable dropping Marcus Morris Sr. at this point. And finally on the list here for drop candidates, we got Marvin Bagley III for Detroit. 13 points per game, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 55% from the field, 67% from the line, and 26 minutes played. He's currently owned in 65% of Yahoo leagues. This one's a bit of a tough one here for me. He's doing all right, but I have a hard time putting stock into Marvin Bagley III. He's been bounced around a few teams now, and he's got a history of disappointing both fantasy and real managers alike. Isaiah Stewart is back, of course, and is clawing into minutes. Durant is improving as a rookie center, so these are all going to be cutting into opportunities for Marvin Bagley III as the season goes on. He needs to remain at this current 26 minutes per game to be fantasy viable, and hopefully he does for his sake, but if he doesn't, again, he's not going to be worth that roster spot. That's going to do it here for the drop candidates. Let's get into the ad candidates here for this week. We're going to start in Indiana.
Andrew Nemhard,
32% owned in Yahoo circles. In 32 minutes per game, he posted results of 12 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 49% from the field, 100% from the line. He was already seeing major minutes before the game that Halliburton had to take off. So stepping in for Halley and McConnell is going to just increase his usage even more. He was a good assist to turnover ratio last week, and if he continues the way that he's going, I could see him starting to cut into Benedict Matherin's opportunities over the course of the not too distant future. So keep an eye on Andrew Nemhard. He could be a very, very intriguing ad for the week to come. Up next in Orlando, we got Markelle Fultz. 44% owned. He has 8 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 44% from the field, 75% from the line, 22 minutes per game. He is going to be ramping up those minutes. He's just coming off a major injury, of course, just had his debut here a few games ago. And he's got a big opportunity with Jalen Suggs out. So we could see some more increased minutes. I would imagine he's going to probably slide into about 28 minutes per game, as opposed to the 22 minutes he saw here last week. And if he's healthy, I would say ride him, because he's going to be a good source of assists and defensive stats there as well. Kind of like a Killian Hayes, very similar makeup there fantasy-wise for the upcoming week or so. Up next, we have Jalen McDaniels for Charlotte. 30% owned in Yahoo circles, 29 minutes per game last week, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 56% from the field, 88% from the line. He's not doing a whole lot on the defensive end, but he's certainly helping out with the offensive numbers here. 2.3 three-pointers last week is a nice addition to his scoring, and of course he's getting more minutes with Hayward's injury and has been slotted into the starting lineup. That enough speaks good reason for you to consider picking him up for the short term, just to see how he pans out in that Charlotte offense. Is very volatile. There's a lot of moving pieces coming in and out of that lineup. If Jalen McDaniels can solidify minutes in the low 30s, he's going to be a good help for your squad. Joe Harris is up next. 24% owned in Yahoo leagues, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 3.5 threes per game, 54% from the field, 100% from the line in 34 minutes per game. Seems to be a trend there with Brooklyn. They're switching sharpshooters between Harris and Curry. Seth Curry, of course. Harris is a three-point machine. He competed in the three-point contest and is chipping in at 5 rebounds per game, which is slightly above his totals from last year. So he's on a bit of a heater, and if you get somebody who's on a bit of a heater and you're needing threes, there is no other place to look than whoever's hot, I guess, in Brooklyn, and right now it is Joe Harris. Ride him until he cools. If you can get him on your team, I don't think that would be a bad solution there for you. And finally, at center, we got Alexei Pokusevski, 48% owned. He just dipped under 50% here this week for good reason, but I do consider adding him. I would consider adding him, especially if you've got if you're doing points leagues. It's not a bad ad to put onto your squad. 9.6 rebounds, 1 assist, 38% from the field, 75% from the line in 22 minutes per game. He's a very polarizing player. When he's hot, he's top 15, 20, 25. When he's cold, he's not rosterable. He does have 3-position eligibility, and he's a definite baller with 25 minutes per game. The upside is what we're talking about. Very tantalizing. He can chip in. I think he had a game with like 5 blocks this year. Is averaging 1.5 blocks per game. So certainly can help you out in that respect. And he is playing a lot of center on this squad. When he is playing, it's just right now that OKC team is like a revolving door. There's a few teams in the league that's implementing a different starting lineup every day. Oklahoma City is at the top of that list, so keep that in mind when you're looking at picking up Pokusevski. If that lineup solidifies and Poku is part of that lineup, then he should be on every fantasy squad available. But for now, he sits at below 50%. Pick up at your own risk, but has definitely got a high ceiling with this player. And that's going to do it here for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it here. Again, leave a like on this episode if you did, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. We are going to sign off for now, but we are going to catch you guys on our next week's episode.